Hello friends, before we begin, one important thing, if you have not watched a day 1 part 1 series, please go back, watch it properly, then come to this part 2. Do not rush this series. This is not content for casual watching. Yes, this is something very important, something you need to understand, you need to write down and apply. It's all about the implementation, right? So yes, take a notepad, keep a pen, and then continue. Because what we are doing here is not theory. This is a real business control. So welcome to the day 1 March closing control series part 2, where we will discuss the top 5 expense mistakes that increase your tax. And yes, today's topic is very powerful because most businesses do not lose money in sale, right? They lose money in the expenses, not because expenses are high, but because expenses are wrong, right? And when expenses are wrong, your tax automatically increase. So friends, let's discuss the worst part that you don't even realize it. So I will start with a simple question. Have you ever felt that profit looks high? Your profit looks high, but your cash flow is not strong. Have you also felt that the tax liability is higher than the expected, right? And have you also ever thought, इतना profit दिखा कैसे? If yes, then there is a high chance your expense side is not clean. And today we will fix these things. But before we go into the mistakes, one mindset shift is there should be. Expenses are not just entries, right? They are the decision tools. They're the decision tool. They directly impact on your profit. They directly impact on your profit, your tax, and yes, your business reality. So if expenses are not recorded properly, right, what effect on your financial pictures? It becomes misleading, your financial picture. Now let us go by step about the 5 mistakes that increase your tax. First mistake is the unbooked expenses. This is the most dangerous mistake. Many expenses are not recorded till March. For example, electricity bill not received, transport bill pending, professional fees not booked, and about the commission payable not recorded. And what the business say? Business say April में कर लेंगे. That's it. But this approach is wrong. Because if expense belongs to this year, it must be booked in this year. This is a very basic accrual concept. But what happens in practice? People usually ignore it. And then impact, what happens? Expense आपके कम दिखते हैं, प्रॉफिट आपका ज़्यादा दिख रहा है, और टैक्स क्या होता है? टैक्स आपको ज़्यादा लगता है. Now let me give you a real example. For example, one MSME client, it is a manufacturing unit. They had transport expenses of around 8 lakh in March. Okay, bills not received on time, so they did not book it. If you did not book their expense, accordingly, what happens? Result will increase artificially, and tax is increased almost by 2.5 lakh unnecessarily. So next year, when they correct, right, it was getting too late. So friends, it's a simple rule. Identify all the pending expenses. Even if invoice not received, estimate and pass the provision entry. Because what matters? Correct timing is matters, right? Now come to the second mistake. It is a personal and business expense confusion. This is very common in the MSMEs, right? ऑनर्स का पर्सनल एक्सपेंस भी है, बिजनेस में आ जाता है ऑनर्स का पर्सनल एक्सपेंस, और बिजनेस एक्सपेंस कभी कभी पर्सनल में चले जाता है, So this type of things creates two problems. First is the non-allowable expense. Non-allowable expense increase. Second, actual business cost unclear हो जाता है, right? Now let's take an simple example, simple language. For example, car expenses. पर्सनल यूज भी है और बिजनेस यूज भी है. बट सपोज आपने फुल एक्सपेंस क्लेम कर लिया. सो व्हाट हैपन व्हेन द स्क्रूटनी कम, दिस गेट disallowed and your tax increases. Second, take the another example is the household expenses. You booked as in a businesses. This is risky and also misleading. So what is the solution here? Solution is simple, clear separation. Business is business and personal is personal. If you mixed both, right? If you mixed both, then proportion define. You should be define the proportion. करो, document करो, and yes, that document करो so that you become safe. You become safe and clear. Now come to the third mistake. Fake or adjustment entries risk. This is really a very sensitive topic, but very real also. Some businesses try to reduce profit by passing last minute adjustment entries, right? For example, bogus expenses, backdated bills, um, unverified invoices, and what they feel for them, they feel tax बच गया. But reality is risk create हो जाता है. Today's system are strong, right? Data matching is strong and fake entries are easily traceable. And then what happen na later when the notice come na, it is not just only about the tax. It is all about the stress, penalties, and yes, interest. And yes, it's a questioning of all your entire books. Now let's take a real example. For example, one trader added fake purchase entries of rupees 12 lakhs to reduce the profit. Short-term benefit, right? But what happened later in the GST? It will the mismatch in the GST data and trigger the notice. If the notice triggered and the entire amount was disallowed with penalty. So what looked like saving, it became actual loss. So friends, simple rule, never compromise integrity. Short-term adjustment entries creates a long-term risk. This is most important. Now come to the fourth mistake, wrong classification of expenses. This looks small, but impact is big. Expense booked in the wrong head. Let's take an example, easy language. Capital expense booked as a revenue. It means repair versus asset confusion. So what happened? Let's understand the impact. Either expense is fully claimed when it should be depreciated, or expense is delayed when it could be claimed now. Because both entries now affect tax calculation, right? For example, in easy language, machine repair हुई of 3 lakhs की. Actually, there is a capital improvement, but you booked as a repair expense and you claimed that one fully. If it gets checked during the scrutiny, this gets the disallowed partially and your tax get increased. So friends, understand the classification. I'm saying basic knowledge is enough, right? You don't need the deep technical knowledge, but clarity तो होना चाहिए ना. Clarity should be there. Now come to the fifth mistake. Fifth mistake, no review of expense trends. This is the most thing. This is ignored by most businesses. They book expenses, but never review them. Like, are expenses logical? क्या कोई unusual jump है? क्या कोई category suddenly high हो गई? क्या duplicate entries है? So friends, without review, errors remains hidden. Right? Now let's take an example. For example, one service company had duplicate entries in consultancy expenses. No review, we did not review anything. So extra expense booked. What happened? बाद में confusion created. Where? Confusion in books and reporting. So that's why monthly review is must. Now let us connect everything. These 5 mistakes. Unbooked expenses, personal versus business confusion, fake entries, wrong classification, no review. And what happens on the tax? All these things, all these mistakes now increase your tax directly or indirectly. And more importantly, what happens now? They reduce the clarity. And this is the most important thing. When clarity is not there, right? Decision making become weak. So I'll ask you in the last, if your expense data is not correct, can you really trust your profit? No, na. If you cannot trust your profit, can you plan growth? No. So friends, expense control is not accounting. It is a business control. So let me give you a simple action plan today. Take notebook, notepad, write these 5 mistakes, and yes, under each write your current status. क्या आपके मतलब राइट योर करंट स्टेटस, क्या आपके यहाँ अनबुक्ड एक्सपेंस है, क्या पर्सनल एक्सपेंस मिक्स है, क्या क्लासिफिकेशन क्लियर है, क्या मंथली रिव्यू होता है. एंड व्हेन यू राइट ना, you will see the reality and clarity also. And once you see the clarity, you get the picture, so definitely you can improve. Now one more important thing last. You don't need to become the accountant. You just only must become aware, right? Because awareness creates control. So friends, we'll meet in next part. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you.